Well, parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us with the very latest on developments in the legislature, with the swearing in of the next parliament just a few hours away. Hello, Joseph. I would want to come to you for you to tell us how MPs on both sides of the House are taking the Cape Coast High Court ruling on the Assin North MP elect. But do you know, or are you able to say whether this injunction or the order for the injunction has been served on the Clerk of Parliament?
I've been checking from the office of the clerk. As at around 5:30 p.m. when I checked, the feedback was that no such document has reached Parliament as at yet. And in fact, the officials at the office were very doubtful that the said gentleman in question from Assin North could be stopped in any way from participating in the processes that would lead to his swearing in and even leading to him voting for a speaker. The indication they gave was that just the injunction being served is not enough, and that a specific restraining order directed at Parliament is the only thing that they are likely to respect. And so for them, the efforts are ongoing to allow him to participate in the process, because he got registered about 4 or 5 days ago as a member of Parliament, and they're waiting to see him around.
All right, so from what you're picking up from the clerk or the office of the clerk, it is unlikely that this MP elect will be stopped.
That's the indication we're getting from sources around the office of the clerk, that up until around 5:30 p.m. no documents had come through. They said if anything comes through, they would look at it. But what they were confident of in terms of something that can stop the process specifically of him being swearing in is a specific restraining order directed at Parliament, because you know that Parliament also enjoys some form of immunity from service in terms of documents being brought to the House, and the Constitution is categorical that you can't serve a court summons on an officer of Parliament when he is going to or returning from the House, or when he's attending to business of the House. So there are a lot of processes that even getting the document to Parliament entails that would eventually lead to him being stopped. But they say they're waiting to see what will happen in the next few hours before a firm decision can be taken.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. This is very interesting information coming through to us. We're not done with you yet. What has been the general reaction of the MPs in the House to this ruling from Cape Coast?
Minority MPs, for example, are unhappy. They're questioning how come in Techiman South the request for a similar injunction was not carried through when the NDC candidate there sought for that. But we're having a situation where in Assin North it's been granted. And some of the MPs have been drawing attention to a video that they say is one of the Assin Central MP, Kenya de Japon, who is also an MP, making this point a few months ago ahead of the elections, that they were going to get this gentleman out of Parliament, the Assin North MP, within a maximum of 2 months, even if he manages to win the seat. And they think that this effort is a premeditated one by the NPP to deny them of their majority. In fact, at the level of the leadership, Minority Leader Harun Idrisu commented on this on the floor of the House. He made the point that when it comes to representation in Parliament, it's a decision that is taken by the electorate and not by the court. So as far as he is concerned, NDC still has 137 majority, as he describes it, in Parliament. Funny enough, his colleague, the Majority Leader, Sechi Mensambos, who has a different opinion, on the floor in delivering his closing address, he referenced the situation in Assin North and said that the NDC's margins has actually reduced to 136, which the minority disagrees with him. The Minority Leader describes what has happened there as a display of some form of illiteracy as far as governance is concerned when he references the directive and the injunction that's coming from the court. So those have been some of the reactions from the two sides of the House.
All right, now we also know that the life of the 7th Parliament is going to come to an end in the next few hours, and then we can have the 8th Parliament also starting. What has been happening in or what's expected to happen in the next few hours before we have the 8th Parliament being ushered in?
So the 7th Parliament held its final meeting today. They worked on a number of things, including approving the emoluments in terms of salaries and gratuity for the executive arm of government. and then there were the closing addresses, and then the Speaker adjourned sitting indefinitely. Per the requirements of the Constitution, Parliament automatically dissolves exactly 4 years after it comes into existence. So there is no official closing ceremony. By 11:59 tonight, Parliament, when it comes to the 7th Parliament, will be considered to have been dissolved to make way for the 8th Parliament. The expectation is that sometime around 10 p.m., the MPs elect will be getting into the chamber and be taking their seats in order to allow for them to begin sitting around 12:01 a.m. We don't expect that sitting to begin at exactly that time. It could delay for like an hour or two. And then the Clerk of Parliament, Cyril Ansa, will preside over sitting for the MPs to vote in secret voting to elect the next Speaker of Parliament, which we know that Alban Bagbin, the current second Deputy Speaker, and Reverend Professor Michael Quay, the current Speaker, are the two contenders who will be vying for that particular position. The various caucuses have designated places where they're asking their members to report to this evening from 9 p.m., even before they usher their members into the chamber. And obviously, the whips are keeping track of every MP and noting their presence between 9 and 10, even as the House begins to fill up.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, our parliamentary correspondent.